Gumayushi. World's Finals Edition. Woo! Lee Gumayushi Min Hyung first caught the public's attention when his Seoul City KEG team actually upset LoL Esports at the 2018 Kespa Cup. This roster also included Doran, Elim, Plex, and Pop. Gumayushi is actually the 6th of 7 total siblings, which also include former SK Telecom T1 Terran, StarCraft 2 player Innovation. In middle school, when Guma told his father that he wanted to go pro, his father said that he had to reach Challenger by the end of middle school, and he hit it in the 8th grade. In LCK Spring 2022, Gumayushi had 219 kills, which is the most for any LCK player in a split, and he beat Ruler's previous record of 209 kills. Alongside his laning partner Keria, Gumayushi is an instrumental part of T1's ability to dictate the global meta, especially regarding bot lane 2v2s. And also, like his T1 teammates, Gumayushi has been very outspoken about how much the DRX defeat really humbled them and has fueled their desire to win. And I stress that people should go watch the T1 documentary on Gumayushi. It's really, really good. It's like 2 hours long, but I highly recommend it. A lot of these facts came from there. And then, yeah, I just can't stress enough, like you talked about the Varus, 2v2s are so important, and Guma has been such an instrumental part of this T1 roster for the past few years.
And the sentiment that we saw in that documentary is the sentiment that runs across all of this T1, which we will touch on later as well. But the fact that they have been so good, but just not good enough to win those finals, and how much regret they had. That shot of Keria breaking down into tears and Faker looking over, I will never forget it, and they won't either, I don't think. But I'm glad you mentioned it about the bot lane in general. We need to talk about support, about the support picks in general, how they've evolved over this tournament, and what we expect today.
All right, I prepared something awesome. So let's talk about the evolution of the support meta and how much Keria has been at the forefront of it, because this has been so cool to watch across the entire tournament. Keria being the first player to bring out the Renata against Team Liquid. Sorry, Kobe, there are going to be some LCS defeats in here.
We forced them out.
Ignar bringing out the Tom Kench, and then Keria bringing out the Bard against C9. This Bard pick has actually become huge and has been something he has further iterated on in their more recent series. As you can see him kind of helping destroy C9 with it. Kellen bringing out the Lux, which is the Caitlyn Lux lane, and then Trimby bringing out Milio against Weibo Gaming, which is super important because then Crisp on Weibo actually picked it up as that R5 counter pick that we talked about against the Renata. Then T1, Keria again, flexing Senna into the bot to subvert the Blitzcrank pick, and then bringing out the Ashe. When we talk about T1 doing these bot lane 2v2s, it is double 80 carry that we see them doing a lot. And this iterated in the Weibo BLG series, where both of these teams were really, really trying out bot lanes like the Kalista and Caitlyn that you see here, and the Varus Ashe for Weibo on the other side. And then once again, I already brought this up, but Bard was such a massive pick for Keria and T1 in the JDG series. And again, like, I wanted to kind of map this out just to show how at every step, Keria has kind of been there. And this is one of the reasons why T1 is here in this final, because they are able to influence the meta so much. They're basically dragging it back to spring when they were the best team in the world.
Like, come on.
Yeah, and also how Weibo has reacted, right? Because Crisp has been one of the supports to take a look over and be like, I'm going to take that for me.
It does make you wonder how we start off with Alistair at the start of this tournament,
how did that happen?
And I think it kind of showed there where Keria in that clip was able to take down Missing on the Alistair. It felt like the JDG weren't really able to contest the 2v2 bot lane for T1, and now it's going to be a big moment here to see if Light and Crisp can try and respond. I do think we're starting to move into a meta that favors Crisp a little bit more. Like when you think back to when he won his World Championship, it was things like the Thresh, the Tam Kench, he can play back while still being a playmaker. Doesn't feel like he wants to be on the Nautiluses, so this could actually work out a little bit better for Weibo.
And how much, Kobe, is this the key to a possible victory for Weibo? The fact that you do, wow, it's a party. You have to get it under control in the bot lane, or you have to throw a wrench in the whole toolbox to make sure that you're on the best foot.
It certainly is the key to my excitement, because I am most excited for new picks. And Gumayushi, in his interview after the game, said, we have so many more crazy picks to pull out that we haven't even shown yet. on stage, and he can play anything with Keria. It just makes me so excited. I think it would also be really funny if we went full circle and we came all the way back. Now we have all these range supports to people picking Blitzcrank like Draven lanes and going for kill lanes again.
We want to
Keria
see
is prepared for that, though, because he's just going to flex on the support.
I think that Keria might be the one doing it, with Chris playing so many of these range supports, but very excited to see it.
Oh, we're so happy, so excited about the drafts. I think there's such a big opportunity for both sides. And also, in terms of what T1 does with their drafts, in terms of when they get into the game, right, Emily? The level ones that have been at, blistering pace, running over the enemies at times.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing I would want to stress about T1 level 1s as we look at a few of them is that whatever composition they have, they set up so well for it, right? So this is them really taking advantage of the champions that they have here and doing this invade to also get bot side pressure for the Neela and Senna. And I think at every single step, you can see T1 being so thoughtful about how they want to set up the game, not only from draft, but from level 1.
And it gives them the opportunity to try and punish the fact that oftentimes they do have these double AD carries. Incredibly impressive when you go for the level 1s, means you can set up a ton of vision, and it's given a ton of control to Owner as well, specifically, who, I mean, we saw him get the 1v1 kill against Tarzan off the back of these level 1s. You see him getting control here once again. There's so many opportunities where T1 are able to take these advantages and punish the rest of the game, especially when you look towards, hey, we now get the vision for the early push to set up for early dragons, to then hit the level 6 in the support, to get the early Rift Heralds. It's this knock-on effect that comes from these great level 1 plays that T1 have been setting up.
Yeah, it's so important, in fact, that you see top laners even coming down for the level 1 invades, because this area of the map is such a domino effect. And we had our first ARAM moment of Worlds there, and T1 actually getting a pretty big advantage out of that one. But because they've done it so much already, Weibo are studying this. Weibo are crafting their counters to the level 1 invades, to the draft possibilities in this craziness from T1. So I'm almost even more excited to see what are going to be those Weibo attempted answers, because we've already seen if there's so much attention in bottom lane, then that frees up the Shy to pick all these counter picks in top side, whether they work or not.
Yeah, maybe try the Bel'Veth game 1, see what that
always good for a level 1 invade.
I think you added the whether they work or not.
Yeah, we'll see. I do want to open up kind of the perspective just a little bit as we move closer to the opening ceremony and to game 1. And let's reset a little bit. We're all here today to see T1 versus Weibo play, and just to look at T1 making it to the finals, the context of how many times that they have won it before, 3, the fact that they have another chance, the fact that they have that chance in this arena, which is already full, by the way. There is just so much history in this moment, Emily.
Yeah, and obviously, like we were joking about how Faker is inevitable, but so is T1 against the LPL. Like, when you are talking about Korean League of Legends esports, T1, SK Telecom T1, SK Telecom T1K, whatever you want to call them, has been Korea's team, right? This is the most popular team. I've been walking around Seoul and you just see people wearing T1 gear randomly. I can't stress enough, again, what this organization means to South Korean esports, and then also how much Faker means as, not only the figurehead of this team, but League of Legends as a whole.
And I think for this roster in general as well, I mean, trying to get that win would mean so much. This is potentially the last time that we get to see this roster together. We've already seen Team 1 members talk about that. And for a team that has been so close so often, it feels like they just need that one title to push them into the contention of, was this one of the best teams we've ever seen?